Hey everybody, I'm Colonel, and I've gotten a lot of questions from people on different teams I've played for about handling and how to get better at it, especially if you haven't done it before. And while I am by no means the total authority on how to handle, I have a few tips that may help you as you begin. Number one, handling is very, very much about chemistry with your teammates. You can have one of the best handles in the world come and join your team, and if people don't know how to cut for that handle, or if the handle doesn't know where to look for certain cuts, things are going to get slowed down and clogged up. And so the first few times you handle, as you start to figure things out, don't get frustrated if you're turning the disc over, if you think, oh, I just can't see what cuts are happening, I can't make good decisions. It's not necessarily you. Work together with your team, start to see where people like to cut, and talk to your cutters and say, hey, I'd like to have some cuts over here, I can throw it over there. Make sure that people use the space around you and communicate. So play a little bit, try the position several times. You're not going to step into the position, make 10 awesome throws, be perfect, and walk off the field a hero. You've got to learn together with your team. That said, there's 4 little guidelines that we're going to use to make your job as a handler a little easier, and these happen when you don't have the disc. When you have the disc, make a good decision. You've got 6, 7 stall counts of looking upfield, looking for your cutters before you should really turn and fully commit to your dump. Different teams are going to change that number and they're going to say look right away, and if you don't have it, try to swing it, keep the disc moving. As a general rule, we're going to say until stall 6, look upfield, and then start to turn around, look to one or other handles for the reset. So if you're one of those resets, this is where your job becomes very important as a handle. For this example, we're going to focus on the horizontal stack. A lot of this does apply to the vertical stack, but if you're just getting into handling, your team is probably running a horizontal stack because it's a lot easier for newer players to run. So what we're talking about is when the disc is here with one of these handlers, how do you make handler cuts as one of the resets? And so there's 4 little guidelines we're going to say that are going to make you a better handle when you don't have the disc. Number 1 is make space. It can be tempting when this person has the disc to sort of sit real close to him, and I know this board isn't even to scale, but remember that when you're on the field, you've got a defender who's with you as well, and the closer you get to your handler that has the disc, the more just chaos you bring around them. And so make space laterally, stretch the field, give yourself some room, and give this person some space to work. Let them use the cuts, and this helps you when it comes time to actually make that reset cut for them. You've got a whole lot more room to make it rather than being so close and you have to cut where somebody throws the disc upside down quickly, trying to throw it under somebody's arm or something like that. So give yourself some space. It makes it easier for them to throw that medium distance than it is to throw something as you streak by 2 feet away from them. So number 1, make space. Number 2, push upfield a little bit. A lot of times people say, if you're on one side of the field, you should pull back, and if you're on the break side of the field, you should push forward. As a general rule, you don't want to just sit back in this space because it makes it really easier for your defender to sort of poach off of you and clog things up for that other handler. But then also it doesn't give you many options to cut. You sort of have this cut if you want it up line, but your guy's going to cover you there, or you can cut straight behind the handler, which isn't a great place to be. And you do that also, you're sort of covered. And so when you push upfield, you become a little bit more of a threat, and your defender has to give you one of a few options. Like if your defender's covering you here, you can cut upfield, up line, and have space up there. If your defender's playing a bit more behind you, you've got the options of coming back in this space here and being open. But most importantly, you don't have to lose that many yards. If you choose to dump back, you can get the disc here instead of if you start back here, getting that dump, you're way downfield and in a bad position. So push upfield a little bit so that when you do turn and come back to give your handler that reset, you've got yards up the field that you're using instead of just taking a huge loss. So number 1, make some space. 2, push up field. 3, wait. We talked about as you have the disc, waiting until 6 or 7 before you turn and look for that reset, and taking those first 6 stall counts to look upfield. Look at your cutter, see what options you have, and take one of them if you've got the throw. But that means that when you're looking upfield for 6, 7 seconds, you don't want a whole bunch of cuts coming from these other handlers trying to get open for you that early in the stall count. So if you're one of these resets, wait until stall 6 or 7, and you can help yourselves out by whoever is being stalled. When they get to stall 6 or stall 7, call out, say 6, 7, call out whatever that stall count is, and look to one of your resets and work together to say, oh, now they're ready for me. And so now's when, if your defender's here, you take that step into him and you come back and we've reset that stall count, and you've gotten the disc off to a nice, easy, open throw with plenty of space. So wait, don't cut too early, and especially don't cut too early a lot with these sort of zigzag cuts everywhere trying to get open before you even need to. Wait a second, pull your defender out of the way, and then when they need you, move into that space that you've created and get the disc. Lastly, as a handler, when you're sitting in these spaces, it's pretty easy for your defender to start poaching off of you, especially as they start to pick up on some of what you may be indicating that you want to do. And so never forget that you do have the option to just clear out and leave, to not be a handle anymore, to communicate with somebody else. You may see a cut coming in here, somebody's in a good spot, but they don't get looked at. Say, hey, stay back here, and you bust deep. And a lot of times, if your person was poaching off of you, you'll be open deep, you'll be able to be thrown to and maybe get a score for it. But if nothing else, it clears out some space and it makes it easier for the other handlers to find opportunities to throw to other people. So if you notice that you just can't seem to get the disc as a handler, clear out. Clear out, go deep, get out of the way, and find a new opportunity downfield. Communicate that with whoever you're cutting with, that somebody else can go in and fill that gap. So there's tons you can do with handling and with building chemistry with your team. I play with several different teams, and the handling experience is completely different from team to team. And so there's some teams where I'm very comfortable playing handler with, and some which I prefer not to because I don't yet know how those teams are going to react and where those cuts are going to go. So I say this. Be patient with yourself, give yourself a chance, try a few things, and don't get disheartened when it doesn't all click on the first few tries. You're going to have to grind it out. Your cutters are going to learn where you like to throw. You're going to learn where your cutters like to cut, and then you're going to be able to work together as a functioning team properly. But give yourself a little space, push up field a little bit, don't cut too early, and don't be afraid to clear out. A lot of times when I handle, depending on who's covering me, I know some people are going to be so intense that I'm not going to be able to get open, and when that happens, I clear out. I talk to somebody who it looks like they can have a better situation than me. So don't be afraid if you get up there one time and you just get shut down completely and say, well, I can't do this. Maybe you just need a better matchup. Wait till you have something else. But keep trying. Communicate with your teammates, and it should get pretty easy for you. So that's that. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, you can throw them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them with what knowledge I have. And if you want to subscribe and catch the next video, you're welcome to do that. End of video.
No, you're inside.
I just
you're
played
inside.
over there.
Around, around,
No,
around.
you're right. I hate you so much.
Oh, man. I had to record that twice. Because I didn't plug the microphone in the first time. And that's not the first time I've made that mistake when filming myself.